Mayor, I'd like to call the regular meeting of the Elmwood Park Mayor and Council to order for March 15th, 2018 at 8 p.m.
That's funny.
On roll call, council members Ballestieri. Here. Churdo.
Here.
Dombrowski. Here. Giandomenico.
Here.
Pellegrin.
Here.
Golombek. Here. Mayor Catamagna.
Here.
We have a quorum.
That's good.
Thank you for coming tonight. I didn't know so much it is just for me or is something special going on. Anyhow, please, can everyone please rise for a prayer flag salute? Oh God, our Father, we ask you to bless our meeting, which we entrust to you, fatherly care and protection. Please remove all selfishness and prejudice from our hearts and implant therein a keen sense of justice and a greater love for you and our neighbors. Guide us toward deliberation so that our decisions will always please you and bring your peace and happiness in our community. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Whereas Chapter 231 of the Public Laws of the State of New Jersey requires at the commencement of every meeting a statement of compliance be read by the presiding officer. Now, therefore, be advised that the meeting requirements for this meeting have been met by publishing an annual meeting notice in the Record and the Herald News of Woodland Park, and by posting such a notice in the office of the Borough Clerk as well as public place within the municipal building, and by notifying interested citizens. Said the notice was posted on January 5th, 2017. Ladies and gentlemen, this meeting is being videotaped and will be on Cablevision, Channel 77, on Tuesdays, 12 p.m., Thursdays, 9 a.m., and Fridays, 8 a.m. The video is also available on the Borough website, www.elmwoodparknj.us.
Mayor, at this time, we'll move on to the approval of minutes from the February 1st, 2018 executive session, February 8th, 2018 work session, February 15th, 2018 regular meeting, February 25th, 2018 special budget hearing, March 1st, 2018 work session, March 1st, 2018 executive session, and the March 8th, 2018 executive session.
May I have a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Second.
Call the roll, please.
On roll call, council members Ballestieri.
Yes.
Churdo. Yes. Dombrowski.
Yes.
Giandomenico.
Yes, minus March 8th, because I wasn't there.
Pellegrin.
Yes.
Golombek.
Yes, but I abstain on March 1st, work and executive.
Motion carries. Mayor, this evening, we have a number of matters to address with the Elmwood Park Police Department. At this time, I would ask everyone assembled to please rise as the Elmwood Park Honor Guard will escort in our two new police officers and Detective Michael Prellick. Please take your seats. At this time, I'd like to introduce the Chief of the Elmwood Park Police Department, Chief Michael Foligno, to announce the appointment of Detective for Michael Prellick. Chief?
Thank you. Good evening. Thank you all for coming. Mike Prellick, one of our finest officers, I'm going to be appointing him as a detective tonight. He's going to be assigned to the Detective Division Narcotics Unit. Just a little bit about Mike before he gets his shield. Mike started his career in law enforcement in 2006 for the Department of Corrections, where he worked as a correction officer for approximately 1 year. He was hired in Elmwood Park as a police officer in 2007. Between the years of 2009 and 2015, Mike was honored by Mothers Against Drunk Driving for being one of the leaders in the state with DWI arrests. In 2011, he made 83 DWI arrests, which was one of the highest totals in the state for one officer, the highest total that year. He has been assigned to the Police Department's Narcotics Unit for the past year and has done an outstanding job in that capacity. Mike is proactive and self-motivated. He's a great police officer, father, husband, and friend. Mike, thank you for your service and congratulations on being assigned to the rank of detective. Please come forward.
Congratulations. Mayor, at this time, we'll move on to the two appointments of our two new police officers. Resolution R90-18, appoint police officer Joseph Pride. Be it resolved by the mayor and council of the Borough of Elmwood Park that the following names be and is hereby appointed as a police officer in the Elmwood Park Police Department, Joseph Pride. Be it further resolved that remuneration is set at the rate as per the 2018 through 2025 PBA contract effective March 22nd, 2017.
Call for motion.
So moved.
Second.
Call the roll.
On roll call, council members Ballasteri,
Yes.
Churdo. Yes. Dombrowski.
Yes.
Giandomenico.
Yes.
Pellegrin.
Yes.
Golubek.
Yes.
I'd now like to call down Mayor Catamagna and Police Commissioner Councilwoman Lorraine Pellegrin, along with Officer Pride and his family, to receive the oath of office.
Okay. Please repeat after me. I, Joseph
I, Joseph
Pride,
Pride,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support
that I will support
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
that I will
that I will
bear true faith
bear true faith
and allegiance
and allegiance
to the same
to the same,
and to the governments established
and to the governments established
in the United States
in the United States
and this state,
and this state,
under the authority of the people,
under the authority of the people,
and that I will
and that I will
faithfully,
faithfully,
impartially,
impartially,
and justly
and justly
perform
perform
all the duties
all the duties
of the office of police officer,
of the office of police officer,
according
according
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Yes, I'm much
Interesting.
Sorry. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Oh. Sorry. Forgot about that. Mayor, we'll move on to Resolution 91-18, appoint police officer Wendy Tinio. Be it resolved by the mayor and council of the Borough of Elmwood Park that the following name and is hereby appointed as a police officer in the Police Department of the Borough of Elmwood Park, Wendy Tinio. Be it further resolved that remuneration is set at a rate as per the 2018-2025 PBA contract effective March 15th, 2018.
May I have a motion, please?
So, second.
Call the roll.
On roll call, council members Balasieri.
Yes.
Churdo.
Yes.
Dombrowski.
Yes.
Giandomenico.
Yes.
Pellegrin.
Yes.
Golubek.
Yes.
Motion carries. Now I'd like to again call up Mayor Catamagna, Police Commissioner Pellegrin, Police Officer Tinio and her family, and Chief Foligno for the installation.
I know. So much hair, too.
Could be that.
I, Wendy Tinio,
I, Wendy Tinio,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support
that I will support
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and the Constitution of the State of New
that
Jersey,
I will bear faith
and I will bear faith
and allegiance
and
to the
allegiance
same
to the same
and to the government established
and to the governments
in
established
the United States
in the United States
and in this state,
and in this state,
under the authority of the people,
under the authority of the people,
and I will faithfully,
and I will faithfully,
impartially,
impartially,
and justly
and justly
perform all the duties
all the duties
of the office of
of the office of
police officer,
police officer,
according
according
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
So help me God.
Congratulations. Welcome aboard. Congratulations.
And the third part of our police program tonight is the mayor's proclamations acknowledging members of the Elmwood Park Police Department, and for that, I'll turn it back over to Chief Foligno.
Thank you. So tonight, Mayor Caramagna is going to be honoring several members of the police department, three different incidents that occurred. Two of the incidents are things that you wouldn't normally think that, you know, would draw a lot of attention from, say, a governing body or from a chief. You know, normally you're getting awards for arresting bank robbers and armed robbery suspects and stuff like that. But two of the things are officers' acts of compassion towards family members and towards situations where there was a death and where there was a missing person. And as a chief, you know, we love those bank robbery arrests and all that stuff, but I'll take, you know, this every day of the week over, and don't get me wrong, we love arresting the bad guys, but this is the stuff that really makes a difference. It's the community policing stuff that this department gets, and they get it right. And I'm really proud of the guys that serve and ladies that serve this town. They do a great job when it comes to this stuff, and it's depicted in these letters. I decided, instead of just telling you my version, I'll just read the letters that the people wrote. I'm going to take a little information out to protect some people's privacy, but the first one was the officers were dispatched to a welfare check. And a lot of times when you get that call, you're like, oh no, what am I going to find? What's going to happen here? I don't want to see this. So a family didn't hear from their brother for approximately a week. So the officers went to the scene, and here's the letter that we got following the event. Says, Chief, I would like to take a moment to thank your department, and most specifically Sergeant Kemp, Officer Chiavelli, and Officer Vincent Scileri for their response to the incident at my brother-in-law's apartment in January. It was a horrific scene to be exposed to, and your officers were wonderful, compassionate, calming, professional, and all around extremely helpful to us during this very difficult time. I know it could not have been easy for those involved, and while they were busy dealing with the scene itself, they also remained very attentive to us and anything we needed. We hope we never need your services again, but know we're in good hands if we do. So for that, the mayor will be presenting awards to those officers for their acts of kindness and compassion and professionalism to the members of the community.
At this time, I think it's very important to recognize the police officer in our town. I've received also many calls and many emails. What a good job they're doing. The emergency, when there's an emergency, they're there as fast as possible. Really, these people should be recognized. Also, there was an incident, somebody saved somebody's life. So our police officers are very important to our town, to me, and anyone else here. I read this proclamation.
We're going to do the three that I just mentioned first, and then I'll speak about the other ones.
Which one's the first?
It's going to be Kemp, Chiavelli, and Scileri. Scileri.
All right. Whereas the members of the law enforcement agency of our town plays an important role in safeguarding the rights and freedom of citizens in our community. And whereas it is important that all citizens know and understand the problems, duties, and responsibility of the police department, that members of our department recognize the duty to serve the people by safeguarding life and property, protecting them against the violence or disorder, and protecting the innocent against deception, and the weak against oppression or intimidation. Whereas the Elmo Park Police Department commencement to continue training skill enhancement and interagency coordination, make them vital members of our community. Whereas acts of kindness and appreciation from the citizens of the Borough of Elmwood Park for our police officer provide them a needed encouragement and support to confront the dangers in uncertain situation that can happen at any time on any day. Now, therefore, we, the Mayor Council of the Borough of Elmwood Park, do hereby recognize with respect and gratitude Sergeant Michael Kemp, Police Officer Gerald Chiavelli, Police Officer Vincent Scileri. Please come in.
Congratulations.
And Scileri.
I know this.
Yes, thank you. Thank you.
You can stay. All right, the next awards are to officers who responded to a situation of a missing person, and it was a missing person from Lower Township, which is South Jersey. So again, I'm going to just read the letter that was sent to my office, which I forwarded to the mayor and council, and the mayor opted to recognize these officers at the meeting. So basically, the letter states, Chief, I'm grateful to all of your fine officers for their compassion and aid in finding my daughter back in November when she was a missing person. Your department made contact with her within a few hours of us coming in and reporting it. Lieutenant John Harris called to inform us that she was appearing very healthy and not alone. The officers responded so professionally with great care and concern. I am happy to report that our daughter successfully completed a rehab and is now doing very well. She has come a long way. I pray your department can continue to touch others so positively and know that you will. So this is Officers Lieutenant John Harris. Mayor, you have the proclamation? John Harris. Jeff Sudol. She'll call the one now? John Harris, Jeff Sudol. People have my glasses. Detective Michael Golden. Okay, you can call. You want to call him out, or you want me to call him out?
If you want to.
Okay, Lieutenant Harris, please come forward. Detective Mike Golden. Sergeant Jeff Sudol. What's that one? That was it, right?
I was, John.
Here, you give them to me.
John.
Jeff Sudol. Jeff Sudol.
I'm sorry.
And Police Officer Chris Finn. He wasn't here. Nope, that's Chris. Chris, thank you. Yes, we have one more. Okay, and finally, we have an officer responded to an attempted suicide call. On March 1st, Officer Keith Hartman responded to the Broadway Bridge above Route 20 on a report of an individual attempting to commit suicide by jumping from the bridge. Officer Hartman was the first to arrive on scene and grabbed onto a 15-year-old Patterson boy who was scaling the fence in an attempt to jump from the bridge. Officer Hartman wrestled the boy to the ground, bringing him under control. While on the ground, the boy pleaded with the officer to have his gun so he could shoot himself. He was intent on committing suicide that day. The boy was safely turned over to the Patterson Police Department after Officer Hartman was able to gain control of him. He was later taken for a mental health evaluation. Officer Hartman is commended for his professionalism under life and death circumstances and without a doubt saved a life on March 1st, 2018. Officer Hartman, please come forward. That concludes the police portion of the council meeting. We're going to have cake and coffee downstairs for the two new officers, and everybody's invited to come down. Thank you. Yes?
Will you get all the people that got awards and the new hires with the council for a picture?
Sure.
of yourself?
Can everybody please come forward for a photo, including the two new officers?
Come on, man.
Yeah.
Right, you know, I agree. Want to line up in front there? Line up? I'm the good director.
We'll look at the cameraman first.
I want to let everybody say a few words before we dismiss. If everyone could take their seats, I think the council members would like to make some remarks before we dismiss the colors.
Thank
Mayor?
you, Keith.
Everybody stand by, please. The council has something to say. Please take your seats.
Sound like such a cop.
My authoritative voice.
Let the police commissioner first.
All right, who wants to start?
Let the police commissioner
Want me to
start.
start?
The police commissioner, yes.
Okay. I just want to start off by saying, what a great moment for Elmwood Park tonight. With so many of our officers being honored for all that they do, they went above and beyond, and we're all very proud and grateful for all that you do. I also want to say that as a resident of 59 years, I've always said one of the best things about Elmwood Park is its police department. You keep us safe each and every day, and we're so proud of each and every one of you. And with the leadership of the chief and each and every one of you, thank you so much. I'm out of breath, sorry. And to our new hires, we had the opportunity this year to sit in with the chief and do the interviewing, and then they also met with the mayor and council. And we are so proud of Wendy and Joe, and we look forward to working with them. Please stay safe, and God bless you, and we all look forward to working with you. Thank you.
Domenico,
Oh, I'm sorry.
do you want to say something?
To our new officers, welcome aboard, welcome to Elmwood Park, and may you guys always be safe patrolling our community. To all the great achievements, when you think of a police officer, you think of somebody who's always very disciplined and controlled in every situation. But at the same time, the beauty of our police department is that you guys are there to show compassion to a moment where people have are horrible thoughts going through their minds, and you guys provide that to them, so thank you.
Sandy?
I'd first like to congratulate our two newest officers, Officer Pride and Officer Tinio. Welcome to a wonderful, we're extremely proud of this police department, and I wish you much success and be safe. And as far as all our police officers that have gone above and beyond and been recognized by our residents, it's just such a warm feeling to know that you're going on a call, that you don't know what to expect, but yet you keep the compassion and the family in mind. So that is so important, and to see these letters, it just proves that this happens every day. And I also would like to congratulate our newest Detective Praley. Good luck in your new position. And thank you. Thank you all for doing what you do to keep us safe.
Anthony?
Thank you, Mayor. Tonight is definitely proof of the outstanding police department that we have, and it's even more exciting tonight to know that we get to have two new members join that outstanding team. Joe, Wendy, congratulations, and good luck on a long career in Elmwood Park.
I would like to also congratulate our new officers, Joe Pride and Wendy Tinio. I'd also like to thank Under Sheriff Brian Smith for recommending them to this wonderful community. Thank you for bringing them to us. I'd also just like to say to our promoted detective, Michael Pralick, Mike, I've followed your career now for not only the last 5 years as I've been sitting up here. I've seen the compassion that you have in your job. I see the pride that you have in your job, and to see that you were recognized by MADD, Mothers Against Drunk Drivers, for having the most DWI arrests, to the time when you were called to one of our former councilmen's father's house to attempt to save his life. I saw how much you took pride in your job, and I know that you'll continue to do a great job going forward. Mike, I congratulate you on your detectives. I'd also like to thank our fire department for coming here and taking the time out today to also share within our police department. I'd just like to say that Elmwood Park, I believe, has one of the finest police departments in not only Bergen County, but probably in the state. You know, we have, in this day and age, when you have situations like what goes on in Missouri and Washington and Baltimore, the job that a police officer does today, it's just overwhelming, because you have a split second to make a decision whether you reach for a gun or you reach for a taser or you reach for a baton. And in every one of those cases, it can start something that many of us don't want to see. But I have to tell you that this organization here that we have has done an outstanding job with our community, and I'd just like to say thank you, Chief, thank you to all the members of our police department, and to the ladies, to the gentlemen, thank you so much.
Presidente.
To Officer Tinio and Officer Pride, welcome to Elmwood Park. Everything that I've read about your records and the recommendations you have received, I have no doubt that you will have long, successful, and safe careers here in Elmwood Park. To Detective Pralick, your career and record here speaks for itself. You are most deserving, and congratulations on your appointment. To all the officers we honored here today, it's fitting that we get the opportunity to do this. These things happen probably on a routine basis. Not, you know, most of these things come as a result of people writing letters and taking the time. But we know that this happens almost every single day, and it's a pleasure to be able to recognize our officers for these deeds. I want to thank the police committee for their work in vetting these candidates and making sure that they were a fit for our community, and they are. And finally, thank you, Chief Foligno, for your professionalism and your accessibility with the council, and I look forward to continuing our work to keep Elmwood Park safe. Thank you.
I think everybody said everything they want to say. Thank you for speaking for me, all of you. I guess I say Mike Pralick, I know you from the day when he came to us. You've always been an excellent police officer. Very proud of you, Mike. Congratulations. Congratulations and good luck to Joseph Pride and Wendy Tinio. And may God bless you. Stay safe, all of you. And continue the good work and be safe, okay? Thank you. Thank you for being here tonight. Thank you, all of you, for coming tonight.
I'd ask everyone to please rise for the dismissal of the Elmwood Park Honor Guard. Just to reiterate the Chief's invite downstairs for a celebration of all these police accomplishments. We'll take a 5-minute recess at this time, and then we will reconvene with our meeting. If everyone could please take their seats, we're going to reconvene the meeting.
I took 2 extra.
That's good. That's people's talk.
I know, times 2.
Through you, Mayor, we'll begin with item 8 on the agenda, which is the introduction of the 2018 municipal budget. We have 2 housekeeping resolutions before we get to the actual introduction of the budget. Resolution R92-18, introduction of ordinance 18-04 on first reading. Be it resolved that an ordinance entitled, "An Ordinance to Exceed the Municipal Budget Appropriation Limits and to Establish a Cap Bank," be passed and adopted on first reading. And be it resolved that a final hearing on said ordinance will be heard in the municipal building on Thursday, April 19th, 2018, at 8 p.m. or as soon thereafter as same can be heard, at which time and place all persons interested in said ordinance can be heard. Be it further resolved that the Borough Clerk be, and he is hereby authorized to advertise in a legal newspaper a notice of introduction and final hearing as required by law.
May I have a motion, please?
So moved?
Second.
Call the roll.
On roll call, council members Ballestieri?
Yes.
Churdo?
Yes.
Dombrowski?
Yes.
Domenico?
Yes.
Pellegrin?
Yes.
Golubek?
Yes.
Motion carries. Our second housekeeping resolution, Mayor, is Resolution R93-18. This is a resolution to allow for self-examination of the 2018 municipal budget.
Okay, may I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
Call the roll.
On roll call, council members Ballestieri?
Yes.
Churdo?
Yes.
Dombrowski?
Yes.
Domenico?
Yes.
Pellegrin?
Yes.
Golubek?
Yes.
Motion carries. Thirdly, Resolution 94-18, introduction of the 2018 municipal budget. Be it resolved that the following statements of revenues and appropriations shall constitute the municipal budget for fiscal year 2018. And be it further resolved that said budget be published in the Record and the Herald News in the issue of March 22nd, 2018. Be it further resolved that the governing body of the Borough of Elmwood Park does hereby approve the following as the 2018 municipal budget, revenues and appropriations as listed.
May I have a motion, please?
So moved?
Second.
Moved by
Call the roll.
Dombrowski, seconded by Ballestieri. Mayor, we do have Mr. Wilcox here, our municipal auditor, who I believe has a summary for both the council and for the public. Mr. Wilcox?
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Just briefly, the budget to be introduced tonight represents a 1.51% increase in the municipal tax levy. That impact on the average residential assessment of approximately $329,000 is $32 for the municipal portion of the budget and $11 for the library portion of the budget. Total of $43 for the year. The increases in spending are at pretty much the same 1.57%, so we're well under the 2% tax levy cap and the 3.5% appropriation cap. We have banks going forward to future years. There'll be a public hearing in 4 weeks. It'll be advertised, and anybody who wishes to discuss anything relative to the budget can be heard. I believe it's April 19th.
Through you, Mayor, I don't know if any members of the council have any discussion before we move on to the roll call.
Any discussion?
No, sir. Not from me.
Okay. Call the roll, please.
On roll call, council members Ballestieri?
Yes.
Churdo?
Yes.
Dombrowski?
Yes.
Giandomenico?
Yes.
Pellegrin?
Yes.
Golubek?
Yes.
I want to thank both Mr. Wilcox and our Chief Financial Officer, Mr. Rigatano, for being here. We'll see them on April 19th.
Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Mayor, this evening we have two ordinances on first reading. The first is Resolution 95-18, introduce ordinance 18-05 on first reading. Be it resolved that an ordinance entitled a bond ordinance to authorize the resurfacing of portions of Franklin Street, Orchard Street, and Lee Street in, by, and for the Borough of Elmwood Park in the County of Bergen, State of New Jersey, to appropriate the sum of $240,000 to pay the cost thereof, to make a down payment to authorize the issuance of bonds to finance such an appropriation, to provide for the issuance of bond anticipation notes in anticipation of the issuance of such bonds, be passed and adopted on first reading, and be it resolved that a final hearing on said ordinance will be heard in the municipal building on Thursday, April 19th, 2018, at 8 p.m. or soon thereafter, same can be heard, at which time and place any persons interested in said ordinance can be heard. Be it further resolved that the Borough Clerk be and he is hereby authorized to advertise in a legal newspaper a notice of introduction and final hearing is required by law.
May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
Call the roll.
On roll call, council members Ballestieri?
Yes.
Churdo?
Yes.
Dombrowski?
Yes.
Giandomenico?
Yes.
Pellegrin?
Yes.
Golubek?
Yes.
Motion carries. The second ordinance this evening is Resolution R96-18, introduce ordinance 18-06 on first reading. Be it resolved that an ordinance entitled an ordinance to amend sections of Ordinance 2-2, the Code of the Borough of Elmwood Park entitled Police Department by amending sections 2-27.11, 27.21, and 2-27.22 be passed and adopted on first reading, and be it resolved that a final hearing on said ordinance will be heard in the municipal building on Thursday, April 19th, 2018, at 8 p.m. or soon thereafter, same can be heard, at which time and place all persons interested in said ordinance can be heard. Be it further resolved that the Borough Clerk B, it is hereby authorized to advertise in a legal newspaper. A notice of introduction or final hearing is required by law.
May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second?
Do we have a discussion on this?
Yeah, Mayor, through you, this is a recommendation of some changes to the administration section of the ordinance governing the police department, which was recommended by legal counsel.
Okay. Call the roll, please.
On roll call, council members Ballestieri,
Yes.
Churdo,
Yes.
Dombrowski,
Yes.
Domenico,
Yes.
Pellegrin,
Yes.
Golubek.
Yes.
Motion carries. Moving on to the consent agenda. Tonight, we have Resolution 97-18, establishing amendment to the temporary budget appropriations for 2018. Resolution 98-18, payment of bills. Resolution 99-18, confirmation of payroll. Resolution 100-18, authorize refunds for the Recreation Department programs. Resolution 101-18, approve current estimate number 1 for the Elmwood Park Water Tank Replacement Project. Resolution 102-18, approve filming request information application form. Resolution 103-18, authorize release of road opening performance bond for 222 Elm Street. Resolution 104-18, appoint special counsel representing for property tax appeals. Resolution 105-18, retirement compensation, Public Works Department, Mr. Anthony Diarco. Resolution 106-18, refund tax overpayment due to tax appeal, 600 Market Street. Resolution 107-18, resolution to refund tax overpayment due to tax appeal at 17 Grove Street. Resolution 108-18, appointment of crossing guard, Josephine Behrens. Resolution 109-18, appointment of disciplinary hearing officer, Raymond Haduka Jr. Resolution 110-18, resolution approving handicap parking space at 123 18th Avenue. Resolution 111-18, a resolution approving upgrade to the sound system to Gramco Business Communications. Resolution 112-18, redeem third-party tax lien for 10 and 12 Fournier Crescent. Resolution 113-18, enabling resolution regarding Green Acres Project 0211-17-022 Birchwood Park improvements. Resolution 114-18, renew plenary retail consumption liquor license 0211-33-021-006. Resolution 115-18, a resolution approving the usage of the all-purpose room to the Elmwood Meadows Condo Association. Resolution 116-18, authorize emergency standby compensation for the fire department. Resolution 117-18, refund erroneous tax payments to Parkview Co-op. Resolution 118, appoint temporary clerical position, George Nestori, Department of Public Works. Resolution 119-18, appoint before school care employee in the Recreation Department. Resolution 120-18, resolution authorizing tax exemption for disabled veteran Lawrence Castiglia. And Resolution 121-18, a resolution to accept the consent agenda.
I have a motion on the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, any
Discussion.
discussion?
Keith, can you just pull the R-116-18 for the fire department? Just so I
Okay.
can abstain on that because it has to
So
do
we're
with
going
payment.
to remove R-116 from the consent agenda.
And if you could also remove R-118-18.
118-18?
Yeah.
Okay, so I would ask council members Dombrowski and Golubek to amend their motion to exclude 116 and 118 from the consent agenda.
Okay.
So moved.
Okay. So Mayor, we have a motion on the floor and a second for the consent agenda, absent Resolution 116-18 and 118-18. That'll be the roll call.
Can I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Dombrowski, Golubek.
Call the roll.
On roll call, council members Ballestieri,
Yes.
Churdo,
Yes.
Dombrowski,
Yes.
Gina Domenico.
Yes.
Pellegrin.
Yes.
Golubek.
Yes.
Give me 1 second. Just gonna pull 116. Okay, Resolution 116-18, resolution to authorize emergency standby for the Elmwood Park Fire Department. Whereas the Mayor and Council of the Borough of Elmwood Park adopted voluntary emergency standby guidelines in June of 2012 to ensure adequate public safety during a state of emergency declared by the Governor of the State of New Jersey. And whereas Governor Philip Murphy did declare such an emergency on March 7, 2018 in response to an anticipated snowstorm with accumulation totals and wind conditions. And whereas the Elmwood Park Office of Emergency Management did mobilize in preparation of the impending snowstorm and met with all branches of emergency services in the borough. And whereas the Elmwood Park Volunteer Fire Department, in response to said mobilization of OEM, did staff each of their 4 firehouses with emergency standby personnel from 1,500 hours on Wednesday, March 7th, 2018 through 2,200 hours on Wednesday, March 7th, 2018 with prior approval of the Borough Administrator as required by Ordinance 12-10. Whereas the Elmwood Park Mayor and Council desire to compensate the members of the Elmwood Park Fire Department who provided the said standby coverage on said dates. And now therefore be it resolved by the Mayor and Council of the Borough of Elmwood Park to direct the Chief Financial Officer to compensate the volunteer fire department members who stood standby coverage on the dates in accordance with the rosters provided by the Fire Chief for standby coverage. Through you, Mayor, we'll need a motion.
Okay, can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
You have discussion on this?
I believe the purpose for removing it from the agenda was Councilman Churchill will have to.
Yes, yes, I will recuse my vote.
On roll call, Councilmembers Ballestieri,
Yes.
Churchill,
I recuse.
Dombrowski,
Yes.
Giandomenico,
Yes.
Pellegrin,
Yes.
Golbeck.
Yes.
Motion carries. And the second item that was removed from the consent agenda was Resolution 118-18, appointment of temporary clerical help, George Nestori. Whereas the need arose to appoint a temporary clerical employee to answer phone calls in the Department of Public Works, therefore be it resolved, the following is hereby appointed as temporary clerical employee for the Department of Public Works beginning on February 19th, 2018 through February 26th, 2018 at a rate of pay of $14.07 per hour as per the Department Head Hourly Employee Salary Ordinance. George Nestori.
Ask for a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Yes, be discussion.
Yes, Mayor. I'd just like to, I'm kind of glad that Councilwoman Jan Domenico did pull this from the consent agenda, because to the average resident at home watching this and to those here tonight, you would think it's just an average item on the consent agenda, but unfortunately it's not. This item marks pretty much the end of transparency and good government within the borough of Elmwood Park. Because without following proper procedures of hiring within the borough, Mayor Catamagna saw a temporary opening in the Department of Public Works as an opportunity to hire a friend of 35 years, Mr. George Nestori. I really feel that Mayor Catamagna is operating outside of his abilities within our form of government, which is, in terms, a weak mayor system. What makes this whole thing pretty worse is that myself and Councilwoman Jen Domenico had no idea this was happening. We actually found out in an email that the position was open and filled and a start date was already anticipated. We rebutted in our email, but we did not hear a reason why.
And just to follow up on that, what Councilman Chirdo stated, the email was dated Friday, February 16th at 2:38 p.m., written by our clerk, NBA, who spoke about budget hearings, and then it goes on saying, I've spoken to the mayor, who has spoken to the majority of the council members, and we will start George Nestori as part-time clerical at DPW beginning Tuesday morning, that following Tuesday, February 20th, his hours and the rate of pay. Within minutes, myself and Councilman Chirdo replied saying, the night before we had a meeting, was Thursday night we had a meeting. I'm the personnel chairperson. So you would think that somebody would have mentioned. So we asked the mayor why we were never sought for our opinion. Obviously, our emails weren't answered. The only answer we did obtain during budget hearing was that I have the majority and I don't need your approval. So that said, I did request from the clerk's office Mr. Nestori's resume. It was never provided on the 16th. I requested it on Monday and Tuesday. He started work on the 19th. It was never provided. On the 20th, the day after he started, he filled out an employment application. And his references, Jerry Laboza, 30 years of friendship, Frank Caramagna, 35 years of friendship, Don Ingrassalino, 38 years of friendship. This is not how we have done stuff. In the past, back in July, when we had an opening, in DPW, there was a person that was out, and Keith pulled the whole council, saying that they had a part-time seasonal helper to extend the hours because they needed the people. It was an actual emergency. It wasn't picking up phone calls and filing clerical work. So we got polled by Keith, just like we did for the rec position, and I had questions about that. I wrote back and I answered. All of our opinions were sought, minus this. So I just still never had received other than the answer during our budget hearing. So, I mean, if you would like to validate that, Mayor. I'm disappointed in our council members that they went along with this. Councilwoman Ballesteros, you spoke with me during our reorg open meeting that it's a great idea if the people who submit their names for the boards also submit resumes. I think it's a great idea if people also submit resumes for employment where they're getting paid, not just years of friendship on the references.
If I may address them, Mayor, to both the councilman and the councilwoman. Ladies and gentlemen, I know we're getting very close to political season, so please bear with me, but George Nestori worked for this borough for 4 days, okay? We've had an issue down at the DPW that we were paying a $92,000 a year member of the DPW, took them off the street to answer telephones. The superintendent came to us and said that he needs somebody to answer the phones. We didn't have a lot of time, so we made the decision, and George Nestori was put in there for 4 days. For 4 days. One thing that I have to say is that Mr. Nestori is a town resident, so he took care of somebody who's in town, and he's also a Republican, registered Republican. So please, it's not, we as Democrats, as the majority here, didn't just say we're putting in our friends. We put in somebody who's part of the other party. And with the majority, when you have a situation like this come up very quickly, we made a decision. I don't see anything wrong. I think we saved the taxpayers' money. We got somebody, I think we got the guy off of the phone for $92,000 and out to fix all of the water mains that were done, which we had about 30 go on in that whole week.
So you feel this is an acceptable process of hiring employees within the borough?
I think we addressed this.
It's a yes or no? Is it an acceptable?
No.
Is it an acceptable process to hire employees within the borough?
We agreed after the meeting, after this was done, that we shouldn't have done it this way and that we will do it differently in the next one.
And
I don't know why you're bringing it up now.
Wait, Joe, you said that you were approached by Scott. The mayor stated in his budget hearings that he knew about the position back in January, and he brought it to his
I said
friend.
we, as we were through Keith, we were told that Scott has been asking for somebody.
Okay.
Okay, we need to stop.
I guess we're back in here, right?
Yes.
You finished, Mr. Dombrowski?
I am finished, thank you.
Okay, so if I could
Can
continue
I-
where I was cut off by the tape. Councilman Dombrowski, I resent your comments that it's campaign season. That's not what this is about, or that he's a Republican. It's the process that the person was put in the position. And currently, we are looking for a full-time person at the Recreation Department, in our court downstairs. So while this might seem like nothing to you, it's something that could lead to bigger things of hiring people for full-time positions in the same manner. So we want to make sure that this is squashed now. That's why I'm bringing it up. Not because you guys are Democrats and he's a Republican and you guys are all taking photos at Congressman Pascrell's event. Like, well, that's irrelevant. What's relevant is the way that it was done.
May I say something? Mr. Dombrowski, right? Election is coming up. They will not need to pick but something pitiful like this. Because transparency, yes, this was an emergency. We were paying. If Scott come up to me, he also say to all of us, look, I need somebody now. Well, I did ask you people, anybody interested in this kind of job? Remember, this is a job that nobody really wants it. This is a job that we have a secretary in DPW who's been absent many times. She got a problem. I don't know what the problem really is. I don't name any
Yeah.
names. So, okay.
Can't even
All right.
talk to this.
So the thing is, this was like, we need someone to answer the phone. Scott got someone that we pay $92,000 a year to answer the phone. Now, nobody would take a job like, if the person comes back tomorrow, you're done. It could be, your job could be for a day. Really, it's not a day. Half a day, 2 days, 1 week, a month maybe. Fortunately, unfortunately, it only lasts 4 days, 4.5 days. I don't even know. And was done. Get it over with. Now, this is a major crime. I did call for the council people to have their approval And 4 of them, yes. So really, actually, you don't need any other members to vote. We have 4 votes. These people don't know. I've been on the council on and off. I was 15 years and 3 months serving on the council. But then in between, I've been about over 20 years getting involved in politics. And when, God bless his soul, Mr. Mola needs someone, he didn't have all these questions. The guy used to say, you okay, you okay, you okay, and everything was done, right? We have a person, this guy, he put my name as a friend. Yes, I said to everybody else, I have out of 20,000 people here, maybe 18,000, they're my friends at Elmwood Park. Because I'm a friendly person. It's nothing to do with friendship. This guy took the job because he's retired. Maybe it's nothing to do. And the only thing he had to do, answer the phone. Okay? We save money by doing so. Some people didn't like it because they have nothing else to pick. They don't see the major things that we have going in town. The work, this is a part-time job for the mayor. I'm doing this as a full-time job, maybe more. I spend many, many hours, talk to people, I spend many hours, and try to resolve a lot of problems. This is nothing. This is somebody get a job for a half a day, for a few days. It's gone, it's finished. They want to bring this up over and over again. I thought this was over, in the back. We spoke about it. Guys, maybe it was not the best way to go by. But it happened. Get it over with. Stop. Instead of working with us, now you got to find a way to fight us. It's a long way to November. Calm down. I want to work with you guys. I want all of us to get along. I have no evil in my mind. I just want, I'm not looking for making money in this thing. I'm a mayor. I don't get paid. We get a little stipend. And all the work I do with all of my heart. I do because I care. And I've been involved in many, many different ways in town, try to help people. And this is ridiculous that we bring this up and make sure that people see this. I tell you, not for anything else. Shame on you. You really should be ashamed. Okay? Because I have no relatives work in this town. Some people do. I will never have my family work here. We don't need that. Okay? So we have the nerve to talk when you have people, your family, who works for the town.
Does that
Stop
count?
it.
Does that
Stop
count for
it. Stop it.
appointments?
Thank you very much.
I still have something else. So in my email, one thing that I thought was a very good solution, which is why I think that the council should be all involved, because we all have different aspects to add to the table. When this topic came up about a year ago, the topic came up about help at DPW, and I thought it was, not a bad idea. Councilman Dombrowski offered, well, why can't we redirect the phone so that the recycling coordinator who sits back here can help with the DPW phone calls and help filter in a time of need? And I put that in my email, and I never got an answer. Did we go down that avenue to see if we could redirect the phone?
Did you say a year ago?
I'm sorry?
When was this? A year ago?
When it was brought up last time that there was
You
a
say a year
need
ago.
of...
I was not here a year ago.
No, I understand, Mayor, which is why it's great to include everybody on the council with those decisions. So I put that in an email. Was that an avenue that was put forth instead of hiring someone? Was it offered to have someone else answer the phones to redirect them?
Anthony, I got to tell you something. No, this girl, she's so busy. You get so many phone calls here. And I tell you, she takes all my email, puts it right on my desk, and we go over each one of them, and we answer each one of them, okay? She's really a professional. She's great.
Oh, yeah, so the answer is no.
Thank God. Thing is, she answered the phone. Yeah, she does.
So the answer is no. We did not look to redirect the phone to help for the 4 days.
But she's been doing this. I want you to know that.
Thank you.
She's been doing this, okay?
If I could just mention one more thing, since the mayor touched it about the employment of relatives, and that he's not employing relatives. Under the Code of Ethics section of the Borough's Municipal Code, it says employment of relatives. No member of the Borough Council and/or mayor shall, during his term of office, appoint or hire for employment within the Borough of Elmwood Park any member of his family directly related by blood or marriage. So, you could interpret that you're not going to hire them based on employment, And the way that our current mayor is ice skating around that by appointing his two son-in-laws to sit in on him on boards is because they're not getting paid for it. However, in his absence, they still have a vote. So yes, you're not hiring them for employment, but you failed to disclose to us that two appointments were your son-in-laws. I didn't know they were your son-in-laws. They were a mayor appointment, but if we're in full disclosure, I never vote for a library board member because my brother, for the last 16 years, has been working at the library
I don't
long before I ever
understand,
came on
excuse
the
me,
council.
I don't understand why you say you didn't know was my son-in-law when my son is a good friend with your brother. You don't know that?
I don't know their names, I know the faces.
I think you're denying something. You know very well, because your brother
Yeah, I
called
know
my
your
family
daughter,
to
Laura
vote for
Noyes,
me.
yeah.
Please, don't go there.
Your
because,
daughter.
First of all, everyone should know, they only take my place in case I am absent. They're not appointed. If I am absent at the planning board, yes, my son-in-law Ricky will take this. In the library, my son-in-law Dominic takes my place if I'm absent. Keep in mind, no matter what, when I appoint people, they are professionals. On a planning board, I appoint people who really are professional. They understand the blueprint, they understand the construction, they are able to discuss with you. Things are changing from prior administration. I sit there, and I was here on a planning board, people didn't know what they were doing. They didn't know what a blueprint was. It was just yes and no. Don't tell me things like this. That's why I'm involved here to do things right for this. With professionals we have, okay, on the planning board as well as zoning board. I'm very happy. It will get better, trust me. Okay, so my son-in-law, they don't get paid. We do this with all our heart. So far, they didn't get a chance to take my place. I'm always here. Only if I am really sick, maybe they'll be coming. Maybe there will be a chance. And they
Mayor,
told me,
we need
you
to
didn't
call
know
roll.
this.
May I, Mayor? Just to, on this last conversation, Councilman, there's obviously nothing wrong with you serving here and your brother being employed by the library, just like there's nothing wrong with the mayor selecting people he trusts to be his delegates on the board he serves. I think the whole concept of a mayor's delegate is to have someone to entrust the mayor's vision when the mayor is not there. This is not employment. I think we can all agree that board appointments are not employment by any means, but that we're digressing. I've been coming to council meetings for 8-9 years, and I've frankly never seen something just so blown out of proportion. I think we're overthinking the significance of this. There was a void down at the DPW. As Councilman Dombrowski mentioned, we were taking actual personnel off of the streets, off of their duties, to tend to a task that we're not compensating them for and that they really have no business in doing. Mr. Nestori is a former councilman here in Elmwood Park. He is a retired engineer, and honestly did the borough a favor by going down and filling a void down at the DPW. It was a 4 or 5 day appointment, and we're getting extremely excited. This was, your points were made in emails, your points were made at the Budget Committee meeting, and you're reiterating them here tonight. But, to me, I view this as a day-to-day administrative item. It was determined within by the administrator and the DPW head that there was a void, and it was filled. I don't view this job as having to be bogged down in the day-to-day, who ends up sitting in what office for how many days. I think we have a lot of bigger picture things that we need to work on. And when we distract ourselves by bogging ourselves down in these little things, it really, really distracts us from the bigger things that we eventually have to all come together and accomplish. I remember my first year on the council last year being a member of the minority. And I can count 15, 20 times where I could have opened my mouth and made a stink. I could have made things difficult. I could have, drawn a little attention. But what's the point? There really is a bigger picture here, and I think we have to be cognizant of that. And in terms of, a comment like, this marks the end of transparency in government, I think that's a reckless statement. I don't think that this one little situation where someone worked 4 days to fill a void marks the end in transparency in government. Your points have been made 3 times. Somewhere in all your arguments there is a point, and I personally get where you're coming from, and I understand it. But it's time to move on. We have bigger things to work on. Thank you.
So with that, I just hope that it's not a start of the Caramagna patronage machine.
That's a very irresponsible comment.
That's your opinion, and you're entitled to it.
On roll call, council members Ballestieri,
Yes.
Churdo,
No.
Dombrowski,
Yes.
Giandomenico,
No.
Pellegrin,
Yes.
Golubek.
Yes.
Motion carries. Mayor, under departmental reports tonight, we have the Library Board minutes from January 22nd, the Recreation Department report for February, the Millennium Strategies report for January, the Municipal Court report for February, the Finance Department report for February, the Recreation Advisory Board minutes for January 22nd, and the Board of Health minutes for January 12th.
May I have a motion to accept and file
So moved.
department reports?
So moved.
Moved by Dombrowski, second by Pellegrin.
Call roll, please.
On roll call, council members Ballestieri,
Yes.
Churdo,
Yes.
Dombrowski.
Yes.
Giandomenico.
Yes.
Pellegrin.
Yes.
Golubek.
Yes.
Motion carries. Mayor, that concludes my portion of the agenda.
Thank you, thank you. Council reports, please. Mr. Cheryl?
One moment, please.
You ready? Should we go someplace
Right
else?
there, I read it.
Someone go home?
Sorry, thank you. It's a short one. Homeowners Association will be meeting at 7 PM on March 28th at the Senior Center, and I would like to thank our Deputy Municipal Clerk, Barbara Despodo, for uploading all of the dates of their meetings on the borough website. So if you're looking to get an update on when the next meetings are, you can check the borough website calendar. Thank you.
Mr. Dombrowski?
Yes, Mayor, thank you very much. I'd just like to say that obviously we had a recent snowstorm, and tonight we approved to pay some of our firemen that stood standby. And during this last storm, after the storm, the chief and a crew went out and checked the town for fire hydrants and whether or not they were shoveled out. And I have to say that the report coming back was excellent, that most of the fire hydrants were actually shoveled out by the residents, and I very much thank you. The message that we keep saying year after year after year is those fire hydrants are important. I may also recommend to the senior citizens and to the disabled, if you do have a fire hydrant in front of your house, by all means, we do not expect you to go out and shovel that kind of snow. You could call our fire department non-emergency number 201-796-0700. Put your name on the list, and the fire department will go out after a snowstorm and shovel out for disabled and senior citizens. So please, take advantage of that and call that number. It's very important that those fire hydrants are cleared, and again, I thank all the residents for doing a fine job. Again, I'd like to thank our fire department for coming here tonight to honor our police officers. It's very nice to see the camaraderie between the two. And this past, on the 14th, there was the movement for the students to walk out of school to make a statement and stand up. And I know our school did participate in that. And I also want you to know that our fire department, our police department, and our ambulance were all standing by to make sure that it was a smooth and good transition. And I just wanted to say, I thought that the students acted appropriately. They were very nice. They were very calm. And again, I think it was just a great showing of what the youth can do in this country. And after that, Mayor, again, I'd also like to thank the new officers and welcome them, and thank Michael Pralek for his achievement and all the officers that we honored today. Progress.
Thank you. Ms. Pellegrin.
Yes. My Board of Health update, the county will be having a presentation on April 24th at 7 p.m. to discuss the borough's wildlife and TNR program right here in the chambers. The next rabies shot clinic will be May 16th from 5 to 7 p.m. at Firehouse Number 4, and the next Board of Health meeting will be April 16th at 7 p.m. On the police update, on April 26th at 7 p.m. right here, there will be a police community meet and greet. They will have representatives from each of their divisions explaining their daily operations. Also, there will be discussions on how to keep your home safe. So please come out and be a part of this informative evening. I want to thank the chief and the police committee Councilman Dombrowski and Councilman Cherto for being a part of this idea. I went to see the chief, and we really thought it would be great to get the residents involved. So working together will be great. There'll be handouts, there'll be a lot of information. So please, everyone, try to come that night. I think it's going to be great for our community. Also, on the Chamber of Commerce update, I covered a meeting for Councilman Dombrowski. I attended Tuesday, March 13th. Much discussion was had on how to better our business district. They have many ideas, and they want to work with the mayor and council to implement some changes to help our business district thrive. This will be great for our community. Their next meeting is April 10th at 6 p.m. right here in the chambers. And come out and meet. They're going to have some local businesses attend. And I met with them about 3 times now because Joe travels a lot. And they're really such good people. And they really, really want to build up this business community. And the mayor's been a big part of it. So I think if we can all take a friend or take a neighbor that night and show them that we want to work together and we're all very interested, that's the way we get things done in this town, teamwork and working together. So please try to all come out and support them. And that's it.
Thank you.
Progress.
John Domenico?
So yesterday I attended the Volunteer Ambulance Corps meeting, and it was amazing. On a Wednesday night, the room is just filled with volunteers, and their dedication has been recognized by us many times, so I don't have to repeat that, but it's remarkable because we are one of a handful that has a completely 100% volunteer ambulance corps, and unfortunately their funds this year are $20,000 down. They did make 1,600 calls, over 1,600 calls last year, so I just wanted to make everybody aware that they will be doing their second fund drive, and any donation, there's no such thing as too little. They could use literally anything, including volunteers. They are 3 members down, but thank you to the women and the men on the ambulance corps, and please consider contributing when you guys get the fund newsletter. Thank you.
Thank you. Leslie?
Okay. As recreation report, the hockey season has ended. Basketball is now in the playoffs. The Easter egg hunt is Saturday, March 24th at 10 a.m. Depending on the weather, if the weather's not good or the fields are not ready, then they'll bring that indoors. As far as my DPW report, Elmwood Park is doing an upgrade on our water tank. The old tank has been drained and demolished to accommodate a new tank. We are working with Passaic Valley Water Commission to replace a new water main feed to Elmwood Park this month. This upgrade is funded by Passaic Valley Water. There's no cost to the borough. The DPW has removed all the fallen branches because of the weather conditions. Yard waste is picked up, will begin on April 12th. Potholes, due to the weather conditions, the DPW has not been able to complete the pothole repairs, but the work will continue. The sweeper has begun cleaning the streets. The sweeper in your section is scheduled for whatever your day is for recycling. That's when the sweeper comes in each section. So if you can remove the cars from that area on those days, please do that. And that's my report.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Go back.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, everyone. Tonight, the budget was introduced, as Mr. Wilcox and Mr. Rigatano explained. From this point, this was the introduction, and there have to be certain notices given to the newspaper and whatnot. We are looking at an adoption at the April public meeting. I engaged with Mr. Rigatano, our CFO, several months ago as the finance chair, having preliminary discussions about where our finances are, how our budget would be shaping out to be. Several weeks ago, we held budget committee meetings, which I believe were started last year or maybe in the last few years, and it's a tradition we've continued because I think it's important for the governing body to hear from every department, hear from them, why they believe they need X amount of dollars to run the department, why they need more, why they need less. We get into a lot of different financial issues, so it's very helpful to us. Really, we spent 3 or 4 hours listening to their proposals, giving suggestions, and through all that feedback and analysis, our CFO was able to go back and plug numbers into his system, do his work, and he has come out with this budget, which, as Mr. Wilcox indicated, was a $32 increase on the municipal end and $11 increase on the library end. Now, the library end is something we do not have control over. That's a statute. It's mandated by statute. There's a certain formula, so we typically have to go with whatever the law dictates. But between now and April is really the council's opportunity to make any changes to the budget if they feel that any changes have to be made. I think it would be helpful for the Finance Committee to have one meeting before we do the final adoption to discuss if there are any issues. If anyone on the council has any requests, anything they want to bring to, the forefront, do so sooner rather than later. So if changes are desired, we can make them and they can be in the final adoption. Regarding the county taxes, because as we all know, the municipal end is maybe 25-30%. The County Freeholder Board yesterday announced that there would be a 0% increase to their tax levy. And it's kind of read and understood that, well, my county portion of the taxes will remain at 0, but that won't necessarily be true. Their levy, how much they raise, if it's $500 million, that stays flat. But Mr. Wilcox, our auditor, was explaining before the meeting that it's divided based on the assessments and the evaluations of all the towns in Bergen County. So it could be up a few dollars, it could be down a few dollars, depending where we are in relation to other towns. So just want to put that out there that, we can't expect you're going to hit 0 on the county piece. It could go up or down, slightly. As for the Board of Education, as their liaison, I'll be attending the regular monthly meeting on Tuesday, March 27th. I understand that Governor Murphy, in his budget address, made funding education one of his top priorities. And I also understand that there was a preliminary document released today regarding state aid figures. And what I gathered from that document, and this is all preliminary, it could all change, in the morning, but that Elmwood Park Public School System is in line for a $236,000 increase on their state aid that they receive from the state every year. So right now, the entire state is, I think, around $4 million. $236,000 represents a 5% increase over where they are currently. So it's reassuring to see that we have an administration in Trenton that is funding public education and allowing the Board of Education to go less to the taxpayer because the state is contributing a little more. And they're going through their budget process now. Obviously, it's their job to introduce the budget, talk about the budget, but when they do so, I'll have a brief report, for those who watch it and don't watch the Board of Education meetings. Today, I had the pleasure of meeting with a gentleman that works at the county, Mr. Jim Thebery. He's the Director of Disability Services at the county. In January, he had sent me this large packet into my council mailbox here about Access for All. It's a program that individual municipalities adopt with the help of the county. And really the idea, it is a very disability awareness, ADA, pro-ADA type group that would assemble with community members, with some council members, different individuals that work for the town. And the goal is to really bring, the disabled population really into the conscience of everything we do. When we build parks, when we construct playgrounds, when we build buildings, even our building codes, to really bring that into the consciousness that, these are members of our society, very productive members of our society, and we can't forget them. I was very impressed with his pitch. He left individual packets of information, more than 50 pages for each council member and for the clerk and everyone. So it will be in the clerk's office if anyone wants to see it early, but I asked the clerk to list this on the April agenda so we can kind of dig into this. I think it would be a win-win if we created a committee that really promoted equal access for all people regardless of their ability. So probably more to come on that in April. And just a quick note on the walkout. I personally, I'm proud that we have students who are lending their voice to at a tremendously important topic in our country. And I understand that there's this competing argument, education is about education. You're supposed to, schools for learning and all that. But, we just don't, we don't teach civic engagement in our schools. I mean, this is just a national problem. It's not at the forefront. And, I think it's part of education that our students are able to understand what's going on around the world, going on around them in the world, and give their voice. And it was done peacefully, professionally, with the support of our police department, our community, and I couldn't be prouder. And with that, Mayor, progress. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you. Yeah, the clock should be up soon, we hope. We work on this. And I'm still working with sound barriers. It looks like the governor is cooperating with us. And we are getting many calls now. The weather is getting better. The snow is melting and the holes appears. So many people call to have their potholes repairs. And they call from all over. There's quite a few of them. Someone sent us an email. It lists so many from different streets. But I'll tell you this, I call Scott. Scott is doing an excellent job. He's working very hard. And at least we try to accommodate everyone. Just give us a little bit more time. We were even also problem with many people call about the recycle. Recycle was not being picked up, and so we decided to call the company, and I guess it's Gator, and we met with them. They came here, and we talked about the recycle, and they promised us they will do a better job. There was a change of ownership because the owner passed away. I guess one of the relatives took over the company, and he promised us if we have any problem to give them a call. And today was a situation like that. A secretary called, and I hope they went together. I don't know the rest. Talk about yesterday. I went to the high school. I went there at 9 o'clock in the morning. I was told the walkout was going to be at 9:30. And I went to this classroom to kill some time. Then I was told the walkout was going to be at 10 o'clock. And how could I say 10 o'clock? Because I had 2 weddings here. I had to come back at a wedding at 10 o'clock, and one was 11 o'clock. And but I had a chance to talk to teachers there, see some of the students, and it was very nice. I like to go back to school to visit. This, but less pressure. Before I used to go there with the pressure. I had to get my lesson plan. Now I go in, oh my God, feel so much better. No offense. And I do love to teach, What else say here? I want to congratulate the police. I think they deserve this. People should recognize when someone does something really good, and it should be put to the attention of people in Elmwood Park, residents. The police, we have a lot of complaints like, look how much money they make. But let me tell you, they save lives. They make a life more safe. And also, they're very compassionate, these people. I remember when my brother got very sick. It pays also to know another language. Because there was someone who spoke Italian. My brother was very critical. Somebody tried to comfort my sister. And also, in many ways, we have now, we have police who speak 2 languages. So it pays to know another language, be able to comfort the people. What I'm doing now, I'm trying to visit as many businesses as possible and talk to them, try to encourage them, and also, okay, I spend my money there, I buy my lunch, and show that we care about the business, and try to tell other people. I guess nothing else, just to thank you for coming tonight, and thank you for your reports, guys. Very good. Thank you. Now, sir, we may have a motion to open the floor to the public for comments.
Second.
Okay. Call the roll.
On roll call, council members Ballestieri.
Yes.
Churdo.
Yes.
Dombrowski.
Yes.
DeDomenico.
Yes.
Pellegrini.
Yes.
Golubek.
Aye.
Is there anyone from the public that wish to be heard? Anyone? One at a time, please. Please state your name and address for the record.
Yeah, my name is Victor Jimenez. I live on 31 Elmwood Street. I come here for help, orientation really. I bought my house 2.5 years ago, right here behind the street behind us. I have a truck parked in front of my house, sitting there for 2.5 years. The truck is unregistered, it's uninspected. Many neighbors before me called.
Did you say Elm Street?
Elmhurst, right here.
Elmhurst, right
Yeah.
here. Okay.
Many neighbors call before the police and they go there, mark the tires, whatever. The guy moves the thing a foot away, but it's sitting there for 2.5 years. I call a few times the police too, and I don't want to be wasting the police time on this kind of stuff, but I think it's fair for us and for the town to having our street as a junkyard for somebody, personal junkyard for somebody. The last time, about 2 weeks ago, I called the clerk's office, and they say they're going to talk to the police chief. The next day, thanks, they sent a police officer with a tow truck, ready to tow the truck. Somehow the owner find out, he went there, he got his own tow truck, he moved the truck. 6 hours later, the truck is back in the same place because every time he got like 4 or 5 cars and he parked it all on the streets. And he don't give a chance to any other neighbor to park anything because every time he moves his cars, he pull right off on the back. And we're talking, this happening at 3 o'clock in the morning sometimes. He has one of the trucks that plow snow. And when it's a snowstorm, he go there early in the morning and all this noise and all this stuff is happening. I know he has problems with other neighbors, not with me yet, but I'm coming to you guys for help to see what I can do to avoid any further problems because it's going to be a problem. I just had a wedding last year at my house. All the pictures of my son's wedding, the truck is there. I don't care about that. But I mean, I know the streets are public. I know we don't own parking spots. But I think the state is losing money having a truck that we're not paying for registration and the sticker. And I really like to get some orientation on this and what to do.
Through you, Mayor.
All right?
Yeah, we will speak to the police and make sure that
Thank you.
they do the job. Thank you. Anyone else, please? Jimmy, we don't name all night.
I didn't get up and talk to this tonight. After this gentleman, I have to, so. James D'Amico, 64 Willow Street, Elmwood Park. Just to reiterate what the gentleman just said, I know Mr. Kosmark knows everybody knows about it. It's been going on for 4 years, maybe longer, with this fella that lives back here. He has trucks, he's got unregistered. People have actually moved out of their homes because of this fella. They have moved. Something has to be done. Something. I don't know what. He just kind of, Keith knows, he just kind of skims the law. He moves the trucks. He does this. He comes. They give him tickets. He just pays them. This guy's bad. He's a bully. He's bad. People have moved. They can't take it anymore. Got to do something when you get a new neighbor like this. I don't know what the answer is, but somebody's got to stop this man back here. Somebody has to do something. Keith, is there anything we can do?
Through you, Mayor, Jim, you're right. This has been a source of complaints from various residents on your street. So what I'll do is I'll talk to the chief tomorrow, and maybe we can open up a dialogue with this individual rather than keep enforcing, which doesn't seem to be changing the situation. Maybe we can open up a dialogue with them and see if we can.
A woman was getting sick at her home, you know, where he lived, and they found fertilizer in the vents, you know, and nobody could ever have proved it. But this is a bad guy, man, and it's so terrible. I feel for the fella because I used to live over there too, and he just kind of skirts. It's a shame, but thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. Anyone else wish to come up here? State your name, please.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. Dominic Scalzione, 120 East 54th Street. Councilman Golobic, last year you reported a significant increase in state aid to the schools. And again, you're reporting an increase, an anticipated increase this year. I've lived here 7 years, and in that time, my taxes have gone up $1,200, which I roughly figure is about 18%, all because of the school budget. Is there any chance that this will cause any kind of decrease or relief in our
Mr. Scalzione,
taxes?
I don't want to speak
Thank you.
for the Board of Education. I mean, you know, March 27th, I think they're going to, Ms. Freitag, is that when you're doing the budget introduction? Yes. The 27th? Yeah, well, the young lady behind you can help you and answer some of that question, but the Board of Education can really help you with that question in terms of taxes and whatnot. That's the place to direct your question.
Anyone else, please?
Mike Bufus, 14 Phillip Ave. It's been a little while since I've been here, so I'd like to start off by saying congratulations and welcome to the new members. I got notes, I'm getting old, I can't remember. My question to the council is, how do you feel about resident safety?
It's a priority.
Is it a priority?
Priority.
Okay. 18 months ago, I was here looking to get some trees trimmed on the dead-end lot of Miller Ave. Still haven't been trimmed. This last snowstorm, a branch fell in my neighbor's yard, damaged the fence, damaged the kids' trampoline. There have been branches falling on these trees in the last 18 months. Luckily, they haven't been real big, but they're falling. I don't want to see one of these come down in my yard, especially if my wife, my son, or my dog are out there, or any of my family members are out there. We like to enjoy our yard in the summertime. We don't have to cut the trees down to the bare bottom. Just take top 25 feet off. Take the heavy weight off. Leaves are going to be sprouting on these trees soon. They're going to get heavier, these branches. This is the time to do it before the leaves get on there and these things get heavy. You don't even have to haul them away. Let the branches drop to the ground. They'll decompose right back into nature. That's all. I'm just looking to find out if anybody knows, are we ever going to get these trees trimmed?
Are they on the street?
No, they're in the empty lot on Miller Ave between the dead end and the Sunoco Station's parking lot.
The empty lot belongs to us, right?
That belongs to the town, yes.
Through you, Mayor, if I may.
You're right.
Mike, as you and I have talked about this a number of
Right.
times, we did have an arborist come out, mainly to inspect the trees along the marina, some of which had been marked for removal.
Right. I saw the yellow paint stamp on
There
them.
was some resident concern about that, and my office directed the DPW superintendent to bring in an expert to determine the health of the trees. While they were out doing that inspection, I asked them to go to your location
Right.
to determine what, if any, trees were in poor health. Scott reported back to me that there were no trees at that location that required any type of maintenance at that particular time.
Right.
This storm that just passed, clearly was an anomaly, the type of snow, the heaviness of the snow. There were perfectly healthy trees in my own backyard at home that we lost
Right.
during this storm just based on the weight of the snow and the type of accumulation it was. Again, that was probably a year ago, maybe last summer, a little short of a year.
Right.
I can certainly have Scott take another look at that location to see if the
I
situation
would
has
appreciate
changed.
that very much.
But just so you know, we're not going to cut back trees that are not in poor health.
Okay,
And
well,
that's
just so everybody knows though, I mean, I hear the branches crackle in the wind, no matter what the arborist says. Many of the towns around the area have had residents complain about trees, and people have gone out and said they're healthy, and those trees came down anyway. It's the person who lives with that tree day in and day out that knows what's going on. And when I hear branches crackle, I start to sweat, because I don't want to have one come down. Because, I don't want to see property damage, and God forbid, I don't want to see anybody get hurt. Like I said, some branches have already fallen. Luckily, they fell the opposite way away from my house. One fell in the last storm, damaged my neighbor's fence and the kids' trampoline. So now they got to buy a new trampoline for their kids this year. It's something I really think, I'm not asking to have the whole tree chopped. Trim them down, take some of the weight off so that the branches don't crackle when the wind blows. They're not split completely, but they're going. I'm sure the arborist didn't climb up 50 feet to see what the top branches looked like. They look from the bottom, it looks okay. They may take a bark sample, may look okay. But up top is where there's no leaves on the tree in the middle of the summer, where there should be, which leads you to believe those branches are dead. So I really hope we can get something done, even if we just trim 15, 20 feet off to take some of the weight off, get the dead stuff off the top.
Through you, Mayor, I'll have Scott take another look.
Okay. So one thing. Another thing, since one other gentleman touched on parking, I've called the police department. I've talked to Mike Foligno. On the intersection, primarily of Phillip and Elm, where I live, Phillip and Falmouth, there are people that park to within a half a foot of the crosswalk. And the car is there 24 hours. State law is 25 feet from an intersection, 15 from a crosswalk. Now, you come up Phillip Ave from River, you're coming up an incline. You can't see anybody on either side, especially if the guy on the next block has one of his personal invalid coaches there. All right? Now, it's a high vehicle. You don't see anything. When I complained, the chief says, well, we put tickets on them. I never see a ticket on a windshield. We use electronic tickets. We mail it to them. The same people do it over and over again. I know if I got a ticket for doing something wrong, I wouldn't do it again. It's repeat. So you can't tell me a police car doesn't pass by in a 24-hour period that could put a ticket on and tell somebody you're not supposed to park there. A deterrent to that would be something I brought up with our past mayor. The students need 10 hours community service to graduate. The last time the curbs were painted yellow on my corner, Freddie Molino was still here doing it with the students. Only a few of you up here that remember Freddie. So that's at least 25, 26 years ago was the last time the curbs were painted on my corner. Yellow curbs mean no parking. Stands out like a sore thumb. Get the students to do it in the summer. I'm sure we might have a spray machine in the DPW yard. Some yellow paint. The kids get a chance to get their community service time. Some of them don't know what to do for community service hours. That's a perfect thing. All you need is one person to chaperone them during the day. You don't have to have a crew. Something else to keep in mind. Same with the new stop signs along Elm. Stop signs are there with flashing lights. Nobody stops. Half the people don't even slow down. I take my life in my hands walking my dog. Now we got signs on them. No parking within 50 feet. Cars parked 4 feet away from it. No ticket ever goes on it. I've seen police cars drive right by while the car is parked like that. And nobody stops to put a ticket on it. This is revenue the town is losing too. Tickets are revenue to the town, isn't it? Goes into some fund in the town. Snow plowing, they did a pretty decent job. Snow was about 3 feet away from my curb, so I couldn't park in the street for about a week. So I got beautiful grass on half my lawn because my car was parked there. But in the same respect, in the handbook, you're supposed to put the snow to the right side of your driveway so it goes up with the flow of traffic. That's so that the snow gets dragged along, it doesn't create big piles. The last snowfall, 2 plows come down my street around 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Didn't see anybody till 10 after 11 at night. Came down the opposite way. All the snow that everybody piled the right way got pushed into their driveway. I needed dynamite the next morning to get out with the ice blocks in my driveway. If we have to follow protocol, I think the DPW should follow protocol on where they plow and how they do it. Okay, take 5. The white flag.
No, you still have some minutes. You go ahead.
You still have a few minutes.
Oh, we got a couple minutes, okay.
5-minute warning.
And just one other thing. The construction that's going on River Road behind Mont Cal, does anybody know how much longer that's going to take?
I was told this week it's supposed to be done. I guess...
Yeah, because when you come to around the afternoon rush hour, traffic is backed up past the high school, and my street I'm sure Falmouth also becomes a highway because people want to cut through and don't want to wait for the traffic, and they come up about 45, 50 miles an hour. There's little kids in the neighborhood. Maybe we can figure a way to deter the traffic like that. These other stop signs on the corners that I talked about earlier, where people don't even slow down, nice deterrent. We have a lot of police cars sitting out here that are unused. Park a police car on the corner. Nobody's going to know if a police officer's sitting in there. That might deter them to stop or slow down, might scare them a little. It's the police car's just sitting there so it could sit on the corner and maybe be a deterrent. Not costing any money to anybody, but have somebody drive it over and park it there. Feasible? I think so. It's all public safety. Thank you for listening.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? State your name and address, please.
Jane Freitag, 35 Hillman Drive. This morning, when I opened my computer and looked at Facebook, I saw your post there, Mayor, where you had been at the school yesterday. I guess in your official capacity as an elected official, you were permitted access to the area. I am also an elected official, and I went to the area. I asked for permission to stand on Gilbert Avenue opposite from the school. I was prevented from doing so. And that's a police matter. Obviously, you have nothing to do with that. But what disturbed me was when I saw your picture, you made a political statement, which of course is your right to do as a private citizen, but you utilized pictures of school children when you were doing it. The school has very strict policies on photographing children, and I think it was a mistake on your part to put children's pictures on there because there are some families that do not want their children's pictures posted. And I don't know, did you have permission?
Yes.
Who gave you permission to photograph the children?
The teacher asked everyone in the classroom, and there was one student that say, no, I'm not allowed, that's it.
This was a sixth grade classroom, correct?
What grade was that?
Sixth grade classroom?
I'll be honest with you, I don't know.
Do you think that all children at that age are aware of what their parents filled out on the form? Do you think it was right to go into a classroom when an educational period was going on to make a statement?
I didn't make any statement, just,
You said that you agreed with the walkout. And like I said, as a private citizen, you're certainly entitled to your own opinion. But you did it in a schoolroom.
I went there at 9 o'clock in the morning.
Okay.
Okay, to encourage, to support the walkout.
The school itself did not support it. It allowed it, but it did not provide support.
I spoke to the principal.
Yes.
And he was right there. So I did not go on my own.
Did he tell you that it was not being supported by the school? That it was being allowed if the children walked out and their safety was looked after, but that they were not encouraging it? I'm just a little disappointed that you utilized children's pictures without thinking about it.
The teacher asked permission, I want you to know.
Excuse me?
The teacher gave me permission to do so.
Well, I don't know if she necessarily had permission to do that. And I just think it was not a good thing to do.
You are on the Board of Education.
Yes.
Okay.
And I was not permitted any access to that area where you were allowed access. Like I said, that's a police matter. I understand that. But you utilized children's pictures to promote your view. And I just think that it was a mistake on your part. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Keith, 2 minutes.
He has to change the tape.
Mayor, can I suggest, before Mrs. Wexler takes the podium, we allow our videographer to change the tape? Name and address for the record, please.
Doris Wechsler, 124 Phillip Avenue. Holy sh... I only have one quick question. You put all the stop signs on Elmer Street. Is there a possibility of putting them on Gilbert Avenue? I really think that's where you really need them by the schools. Have the four-way
on
stop.
Gilbert Avenue?
On Gilbert Avenue,
He
yeah.
means, go ahead, Gilbert Avenue.
Gilbert Avenue, you did on Elm.
If I may, I think the police chief is looking into putting them on.
Along
Spide-
Elm.
Oh, along Spidell.
Spidell, right, I'm sorry. Spidell and Gilbert now,
Yes.
by the by the elementary school and by the high school.
He's looking into
He
it.
is?
We got an email on that, yes.
Thank you.
That was quick. Anyone else, please?
No. You got another tape? Do you have another tape?
You got a fresh tape.
Cashmark, please start the timer.
I was going to say, is the 10-minute rule still in effect here or what?
I'm not even sure why I'm standing here. I just thought I would stand here. I want to see if people can notice from the last time I was here, I've actually lost 11 pounds. I want to see if they get that side viewing. Tom Conboy, 135 Tooele Avenue. I want to thank you for all the wishing letters and emails I get. I know I haven't been here, and you guys must want me to come back because you always ask me why I haven't been at a meeting. I will say one thing. I'm not going to put on my old councilman hat on. I just want to say that the individual that you were speaking about earlier, if he's an active Republican, then I'm a Democrat. That's all I'm going to say.
I said registered Republican.
I'm sorry, sir, who are you? I can't recognize you. Sorry. I just had to say that. That's all I'm going to say. I can't even go to Republican Club meetings anymore. So anyway, I do want to say, as a resident of the town, I understand that other folks may have some issues with things, and maybe there's another snowstorm, I'll feel different. But I got to tell you, the DPW, I thought, from what I saw, did a really great job. Maybe there was some snafus along the way, but I think on my side of the street, I don't even have to take my car off, I don't think, but we had all 4 cars parked up and down the driveway. But they really, they got the curb to curb. So, and I talked with other neighbors who still think I'm a councilman, who asked me, and I said, no, you need to, I said, you can go up to Hillman and see Councilman Cherto. He could help you. But now, Sandy, you're in DPW, I'll just give out your cell. But anyway, I thought they did a great job. And I think it's great you guys brought on 2 more officers tonight, whether they're replacing or whatever, I missed it. But I think that's great. The town certainly, I think, feels safe. And I've already told the chief numerous times, there are a lot of new officers on since I was a councilman. And it's nice when you drive by, unless my picture's hanging up downstairs or at the post office, hope not at the post office, they all wave. At least, I don't know, maybe they just like the way, I don't know, maybe just like me, I don't know. But I think they do a nice job. But I do have a question and a concern. I'm sure you don't know if you already did your road list. I know, Mayor, you mentioned there's a list already at your desk. But I could never bring this up because I was a councilman and I lived on Tooele Avenue, but now I'm just a regular Joe like everybody else. So on Tooele Avenue, not in front of my house, I'm not going to get my street paved. There's 3 spots I think you should look into. It's also good campaign literature if you're talking about the silly season. When you come out of the rear of St. Leo's, they have a driveway that spills out onto Tooele. There's a big dip there. It almost looks like the sewer is collapsing. I know Scott and the guys did some work right across from it in the fall. It was something there with the gas line, I think. But it really kind of bows and dips, and I always hear cars bottoming out sometimes. Anthony, you don't. You have a Jeep, so you won't bottom out. But other people do.
We walk to church.
What's that?
We walk to church.
Yeah, I drive.
I didn't mean it like that, Tom. I didn't mean it like that.
You do, because you see me drive. God doesn't care how we get there, as long as we get there. And don't come empty-handed. So,
Thank God we changed it.
now you all know I live 2 houses away from the church, and Anthony lives up the street, right? So, anyway, there's another spot on 12th Avenue, halfway up leading to church, that's been getting torn up more and more. It's just a patch, but a nice size patch. I think the homes it covers 3 different homes on each side of the street. I think, you might get some, votes out of that area if you maybe just patch that area. And then it's always good to do intersections. Where Tooele meets church, it's all beaten up there, where the 3 intersections come together. Another good spot maybe to put on the patch list, if you haven't already created your list. And I miss you guys too, and I'll try to be a regular. Thank you.
Mayor,
for
can I
the
just
warning.
briefly, Mr. Conboy, regarding 12 Ave, Alimo Engineering with Mr. Cars did an extensive priority list of streets that goes way beyond, the $400,000 or $500,000 number. So maybe there's 30 streets on the list. 12 is there somewhere. I don't want to tell you that it's the entire street. I'm going to check the document. The council has to decide the dollar number for this year, and if it fits in there in terms of priority, it'll be there. But it is on our radar.
Did I rule you over when I said I act more like a Democrat? Did I rule you over when I said I sound more?
Hello.
Dan. Well, Councilman, if I may ask a question, and it's not just... I was just curious. He did engage me.
Sorry, I'm joking.
He engaged me. He heard about the 11 pounds. He engaged me.
All right.
You mentioned about, I think it's great, about the state aid for our Board of Education. I'm just kind of curious. I could always ask Jeannie when we're done, but are we finished? I remember when there was the takeover and when Mr. Egan came, there was a loan that was the state floated, and the loan, if I'm not mistaken, the terms of the loan was that all your future state aid would go to help pay back that loan. Do you know if that's been completed? Oh, it's...
Yeah.
Oh, a couple more years.
No, there was a fixed amount. It was a fixed amount that had to be repaid every year to go back to get to that 2 million point.
Yeah.
So I don't think that's over
I
yet.
remember there was a number, but I wasn't sure, like, you mentioned we're getting more state aid.
Right.
So does that,
This is
did it
independent.
automatically go right to
No,
the...
this is independent of the loan. The state aid is
Okay.
the state recognizing that...
I thought though at the time, I guess I'm wrong, I thought at the time, the terms of it were that any of your state aid would then go directly towards help paying down that...
Not to my understanding.
Okay.
But Ms. Fry
Great, I'll ask,
could fill you in,
I'll
yes.
ask Jeannie, but thank you guys anyway. Everyone be well.
Great
Take
question,
care.
great question.
Anybody else?
Is anyone else who wishes to speak?
You have to excuse my voice, I'm losing it, I got a cold. Rich Cherwinski, 42 Walnut Street. A couple of things. As far as transparency of government, when you brought up Anthony and Councilwoman Maggie, it has the impropriety of something that's doing wrong. So take a good look at this the next time you do it, because all you had to do was a simple vote, guys. Put the majority together and vote it. And go through a due process of the motions of reading the resumes of the following, or whoever you want to pick. But the appearance, and any court of law will tell you, the appearance is what might damage you a little bit, might hurt you. As far as the phone system, as the hiring, in the hurry to hire someone, we always know they're short-handed down there. When we instituted that phone system, and a bunch of us were on the council, the purpose of that phone system was to go from one secretary at this building to pick it up, not for just to go to voicemail. And if that didn't work, it would go to 2 others down the line. Now, you have to designate who that is. So if this woman is out at the DPW, you have that transferred up here, that call. In the meantime, you could have went through your due process to pick someone to put in there. So that call from the DPW could have been headed to one of the assistant clerks or to somebody in the tax department. And they would be alerted to that. You handle the calls from the DPW, thereby eliminating the rush to hire somebody for that appointment. On another issue, you know that with the pothole season coming up, and it was brought up a couple of times at the council meeting, nobody's instituted it yet, but I thought it was a great idea, and I forget which councilman brought this up. You have an IT guy on your payroll in your council. You should set up a system where everyone has a cell phone. They can take pictures of those potholes, send them in with the address. The computer can log them logistically for the DPW, and all they have to do is go in the morning, guys, and say, hey, we got 10 on this street, 5 on this street, and you have a burden with somebody sitting there every day to write all these calls down and waiting for somebody to pick up that phone. It's something that should have been looked into a long time ago, but we had a few people that weren't too computer savvy yet on our council. But now's the time, guys. Everybody has a cell phone.
Ridgewood has it.
Ridgewood does have it. There you go. Is West Patterson getting it, Keith?
Not yet.
Okay. All right, gentlemen, thank you.
For one.
Does anyone else wants to come to speak? I guess we have good. If no one else wishes to be heard, may I have a motion to close to the public?
So moved.
Okay, call the roll.
On roll call, council members Ballestieri. Churdo.
Yes.
Dombrowski.
Yes.
DiDomenico.
Here.
Pellegrin.
Yes.
Golombek.
Remember,
Yeah.
ladies and gentlemen, remember, this meeting is being videotaped. It will be on Cablevision, Channel 77, on Tuesdays at 12 p.m., Thursdays 9 a.m., Fridays 8 a.m. The video is also on Fios at the same time slots. The video is also available on the borough website, www.elmwoodparknj.us. Thank you. Motion to close?
We did that already. No,
Close it again.
To adjourn. Aye.